growing up in church, um, I've heard this sound coming from the rafters where the organist would be, and it was such a sound that it actually engulfed my entire being. I don't know. It's difficult to describe. It's almost as though two destined lovers find themselves in a sea of life, and somehow chance brings them together. And I'm sitting in church. I'm about maybe 6, 7 years old, and I hear this lady just playing the melodies, playing that organ, and I thought to myself, "What is that?" And so all I could see was at that time, this is a B3, but hers was a C3, and it has this little wedge there on the edge, on the silhouette. So that's all I could see, being a little kid looking up in the rafters or in the choir stand. And so I remember going home and shaping my pillow in the shape of that C3, and it would level off, and then I would just pretend to be playing it like I saw her, and eventually I could start playing the organ. And this is, I didn't consider myself a music lover at the time, but I'm like, oh my God, still today I kind of get goosebumps just hearing that. And I fell so deeply in love with that organ. I wasn't a music lover as much as I was an organ lover. And not just an organ, because I've tried all the other models, the Allens and the Kahns and things of that nature, and the Kimballs, and they did nothing for me, nothing. And I remember going to certain churches. They asked me to play, and they have another type of organ. It wasn't Hammond's B3s or anything. It would be maybe an Allen or something like that. And I'd be like, "Oh, I don't want to play that. I don't want to play that." And so it was just something that just. Actually, there was a campaign out one year that talked about the anti-drugs. So it was about finding passion, finding your desire, and then feeding that passion, and that'll keep you off drugs. Well, this right here was my anti-drug, because my neighborhood at the time wasn't a bad neighborhood, but drugs came in eventually and started sweeping up the entire neighborhood, and all of my friends and running buddies would get caught up in drugs and alcohol, and but the pastor of the church one day said, he heard me playing in the piano. He said, "You can come and practice anytime you want." And I was like, "Really?" He said, "Yeah, I'll give you a key to the church, but we'll have to lock you in, and and you can stay as long as you want and practice as long." Well, that was a no-brainer for me, because growing up we didn't have AC, and he just offered me two things I'd never had. That's a Hammond B-3 and AC. I was like, that's a no-brainer. I am in. So I'd start out at the top of the morning, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning. I start about 2 hours on the Hammond, and I go over to the Yamaha and play another 2 hours, and then to the drums, and then we just start that whole cycle up all day from sunrise to sunset, and then I'd stay and play for the church service that night. So the organ for me literally was my anti-drug. It really is, and it's just an amazing instrument. There are a few things in life you really kind of say, that's a divine inspiration right there. And I kind of looked up the history about Hammond and how he came about and all that sort of thing. He was ahead of his time. Obviously, because today I don't feel like any, I would say, Pentecostal, apostolic, or any charismatic church of today, if you don't have one of these in there, you're playing church. You haven't quite made it to the actual church service. I mean, we've got keyboards, we've got the Yamahas, we've got the Rolands, and all that sort of thing. But when we add that sound. Add that in there. That thing right there. Now we having church. Now we can go on and have church. And it just adds a flavor. It adds an entire. It actually is an atmosphere creator. It creates an atmosphere. And there are times when if you don't have, say, you don't have a keyboard, but you got a Hammond and you got the perks, you know, that just add, you know, you can add your own or whatever, you know. Man, it's just it just takes you there. And man, if you are a pastor or an evangelist or a lot of times, now, you know, this is the last thing I'll tell you about. And I remember the Allman Brothers.
Oh, yeah, Allman Brothers.
I would be just almost, I know this is not right, but I'd be almost, he was older. He's much older than me. He's probably passed on by now. But I can't remember his name, but they had a B-3 organ on the stage everywhere they go. So I was like, man, wouldn't it be something if he got sick and couldn't play? if I could just join the Hammond Brothers, I'd be the organist. And because this thing here at Leonard, I don't know, we always play the bottom board. How did that happen? We always play the bottom board as a pole. I guess because it's the closest, I don't know. But and then we went on to kind of get into music itself, and that's, you know. Jimmy.
No, that won't happen here. No baby's sleeping here. Pastor, we've asked you to make this brief video with us because we recognized your talent, and Randolph Carter recognized you, sir. But I started the camera before we got a chance to have you introduce yourself and tell us where you're pastoring and have a chance to invite people to your church.
Right. Well, once again, my name is Michael Norman, Pastor Mike, Pastor Michael, however, no big deal on that. But we're pastoring the church Orlando Faith Ministries International, 4435 Old Winter Garden Road, right here in the city, beautiful Orlando, Florida. Actually, I'm in Sanford, right? But
sunny Sanford, in fact.
Sunny Sanford as well. It's a good drive from Sanford to Orlando. It's well within reason. Especially one of these, and we've got one of these on the stage. So if you like some just really good music, a very relevant word, come just as you are. You don't have to. If you get a new suit and you try to come to church, you're going to feel really out of place. So just bring your casual clothes. It's a casual environment. And we promise to make you feel right at home.
Thank you for the inspirational message today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Signing off from Keyboard Exchange International.
AKA Hammond Heaven.